many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland, and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures though in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us, and temperatures around the seasonal normal but slightly below in places.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Saturday night, and now this is the Saturday 5 Extra, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Dr. Renee, along with Will Kingston, Cressida Wetton now, Trey Lowe and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
Britain's greatest journalist, Alan Partridge, returns to our screens.
why is this horse in the news?
We want your questions on any topic in Ask the Five.
Why is Ronaldo one happy racer? And it's the question you've all been asking, can asparagus predict the future?
Told you it'll be fun, guys. It's 8 o'clock and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. There is still lots more to come tonight, including trigger tantrums. We've got a few more of those. And we'll take you through the most uplifting stories of the week. Plus, we will be speaking to the asparagus fortune teller who predicted Brexit and the Queen's death. Will there be any big predictions made tonight? And of course, we want to know your views as well. Send your views and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/yoursay. And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. Put Ask the Five in front, please. No topics are off limit. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday night news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much indeed. Just after 8 o'clock here in the GB newsroom. Huge crowds have gathered in Tel Aviv in anticipation of the release of all Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The ceasefire agreement came into effect yesterday morning. Hamas has until Monday to release all captives, living and dead, before Israel will free thousands of Palestinian prisoners. There were chants of "Thank you, Trump" from crowds in Hostages Square during an address by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, two of the US president's top aides who took part in ceasefire negotiations, along with Kushner's wife, Ivanka Trump. Witkoff, who's special envoy to the Middle East, says Donald Trump's owed a deep debt of gratitude and that he has dreamed of this night.
We stand here tonight, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and people from every corner of the world, united by one shared prayer for peace. Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary, a moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen.
Well, rescue teams in Gaza have begun recovering bodies from ruined buildings after Israeli troops withdrew yesterday from some areas under the ceasefire deal. Drone footage here captured from Gaza City showing the extent of the damage. Meanwhile, humanitarian aid has begun to trickle into Gaza, although aid agencies have expressed frustration that deliveries have yet to begin at scale, with hundreds of lorries still waiting at the Rafah border crossing. To the UK, a small number of people have been arrested at pro-Palestinian demonstrations in London to mark 2 years of the war in Gaza. Police say it followed a scuffle between several individuals after a group of counter-protesters from Stop the Hate breached conditions that had been put in place in an effort to keep the counter-demonstrations apart. Well, tens of thousands of people marched to Parliament Square earlier, the protests going ahead despite the ceasefire in Gaza coming into effect, protesters insisting the marches will continue until a free Palestine is achieved. Former Lost Prophets singer Ian Watkins has died after being attacked in prison. The paedophile rock star was serving a 29-year sentence for child sex offences. He was attacked with a knife at Wakefield Prison in Yorkshire this morning. Emergency services were called, but Watkins was pronounced dead at the scene. No survivors are expected to be found after a major explosion at a munitions factory in the US state of Tennessee yesterday. 18 people remain unaccounted for. It remains unclear what caused the explosion at the plant in Bucksnort, which is roughly 56 miles south of Nashville. The facility specialises in the development and manufacture of explosives. New estimates show almost 2.5 million people in Britain have ordered weight loss jabs. That is 1 in 20 of you. The figures obtained by The Telegraph show sales of Wegovy and Mounjaro have increased 7-fold from 500,000 the previous year. And the Health Secretary has vowed to make the injections widely available on the NHS, but tight restrictions mean only around 24,000 will be eligible over the next 3 years. Finally, if you are travelling to Europe from London, leave early and be ready for long delays as new biometric border checks will be in place. Visitors arriving in any of the Schengen area's 29 countries will have their faces and fingerprints scanned under the new entry and exit scheme. And the EU is looking to dispense with passport stamps in favour of a new digital system. Authorities hope that despite the initial delays, it will offer a streamlined process. And this news just coming into us, sad breaking news, I'm afraid. Celebrated actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. That is according to a family spokesperson. Keaton, who rose to fame in the 1970s, starred in hit films The Godfather, Annie Hall, Baby Boom, First Wives Clubs and Something Has Got to Give. She is survived by her 2 children. Those are your headlines. I'll be back with more later.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Saturday 5 Extra. Now, you've just been hearing from Aaron that Diane Keaton has died, which is really sad. We seem to have had a flurry of these absolute megastars dying of late. She was famous, obviously, for being in The Godfather, First Wives Club and Annie Hall. I think it's always sad when somebody dies. She was only 79, which I consider to be very young. I don't know what the rest of the panel think.
Sad, isn't it?
It is young, isn't it, nowadays?
It's young.
You shouldn't be past that 79. It's a very young age, isn't it?
She's been working quite a bit in the last few years as well. I've seen her in a few things, you know, some of the recent sort of shows that she's done, and I think recent films, and she seemed very full of life.
That chemistry that she had with Jack Nicholson in Something's Got to Give was fantastic. I might, you know, I'll watch that tomorrow afternoon. That might be a nice little memory for Diane Keaton, you know, Vale.
Al Pacino must be gutted, isn't it? That was the love of his life, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the risk of sounding old, because I know this will sound old, I'm not sure that we are creating these kind of stars anymore.
No,
definitely
way.
Not. An imprint.
She was so sophisticated. I think of Annie Hall, she was just drop dead cool, wasn't she?
Well, all movies are dying, basically.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
But maybe social media is the reason for that. If we'd known all of what was going on behind social media, would we celebrate a lot of these greats? I personally think they were better and had more talent, but some of it is social media, isn't it? Are we going to create those stars anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there's not the films anymore, are there? I did go and see the Leonardo DiCaprio film the other day, and he was as good as he'd
Was it
always
good?
be.
The new film?
Absolutely
Really?
fantastic. One of the best films I've seen in a while. But I think those kind of stars, even DiCaprio, we're just not seeing them come through at the bottom end, are
It's
we?
about character, and it's about being willing to not be just another cookie-cutter type of character. And I think the film industry has sort of seen what works, or what it thinks works, and try to replicate it a dozen times over, and that goes for actors, try to just hire the same types of people, and it also goes for films. That's why we see the marvelisation of
and music as well,
where they just make sequel after sequel and don't come up with any original ideas. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's several eras that we've seen gone by, though, haven't we? We've seen the really twee Betty Davis era, where they were really just child stars that were made. Then we moved into this kind of era where we've got Diane Keaton, or we had Diane Keaton. And I think, you know, where will we go next? Where
Somebody was telling me the other day about a film with Julia Roberts. Something about, is it After the Hunt? Something about a hunt? I don't know. Apparently it's a new anti-woke film. I read the review in The Guardian. They absolutely panned it. It's quite interesting.
Well,
I don't know. It might be quite interesting.
That's as good an indicator as any to go and see it immediately.
Do you know what the future might be? AI characters.
Well, I can't remember the director. I can't remember the director off the top of my head. It was someone like a Christopher Nolan, but it was saying within the next 5 years they will be able to create AI movies.
They absolutely will. So I would recommend, as we close this very sad news, I'd recommend everybody take a weekend and watch all of The Godfathers back to back.
Amen.
Fantastic. But anyway, moving on from that sad news, you've all been getting your questions in for us, which means it is now time for... OK, so it is time for you to have your say in Ask the Five. And our first question is from David.
Good afternoon, panel. It's David from Watford here. In light of the fact that now appears to be peace in Gaza, when do the panel believe the people parading, shouting abuse about Israel, the IDF and Jews, etc., when will they start to be honest and admit it's not about Palestine, it's about removing the Jews from Israel? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question I was going to cover this week, but I thought it had been covered well on the channel, but it'd be interesting to hear your views. So now that there's peace in Gaza, when will the people on these protests, week after week, it's the 32nd one today, admit that this is about anti-Semitism and not about Gaza?
And David makes a really good point, and when this was most clear to me is just immediately in the wake of the horrifying terror attack next to the Jewish synagogue, next to the synagogue. And the protests that happened immediately afterwards, even that night, this preoccupation that some parts of the hard left do have shows them for what actually a small proportion of them are, which is Jew haters. And I don't think that of all the pro-Palestine marches, not at all, but there is a minority of people who delight in this kind of stuff.
Shall I tell you when I knew, Kai? It was on October the 7th, when at midday, whilst we didn't even know how many people had been murdered and how many people kidnapped, and Israel had not yet struck back, they actually filed a request for a protest the following weekend. That's when I knew what the marches were about.
But that's but you can't take that minority of people or some of the organisers to tarnish all the protests with the same brush because that's what the left, some of the hard left, tried to do with the Tom Robinson United Kingdom rally, and I have resisted from saying that those hundreds of thousands of people are racist because I don't think they are.
You pretty much can tar them with the same brush because if they really cared about genocide, they'd be talking about Sudan right now. They'd be talking about the Uyghurs in China. They'd be talking about the many instances of genocide in the world. They couldn't care less about those instances. There's only one variable there, Kai. Only one variable.
Well, it'll be interesting when it see what happens next, whether the numbers drop off, whether it diminishes, whether they suddenly decide to care about another cause. I mean, these people, did you say 32 weeks this has been going straight?
This was a 30-second protest.
Right, they won't know what to do with themselves. We've probably got like a social element to it by this point.
I think that's it.
They will. There's this wonderful word called the omni-cause, which is why all of these loonies just glob onto the same things. So they did their Black Lives Matter period, and then I'm missing one, I think. I can't quite recall. Obviously,
Just
the climate, Just Stop Oil. Now they've got their Palestine thing, and there'll be another one in 6 months' time. Of course, there will be.
The asparagus person to tell us what's coming.
Guys, I do think there are a lot of people who genuinely care about what's been happening.
Then why are they talking about other parts of the world?
Well, I'm sure a lot of them do have different causes, but I think there are people who genuinely care, and there's a lot of people
you haven't answered my question.
Genuinely want peace, and let's really
Sure, but again, answer my question.
Peace. Well, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of them care about lots of causes.
Interesting, isn't it?
Well, we shall see. As weeks go by, we shall see. This question is from Rory Donaldson, who says, ask the five. In one sentence, sum up Keir Starmer. Will. Sorry.
Well, the thing is that the reason I pause is it's so hard to sum him up in a sense because there's nothing there. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just, and this isn't particularly good for our people on radio, but for 3 seconds I'm just going to look at the screen and say nothing.
That's a bloody long sentence.
That is Keir Starmer. He is a nothing.
So I actually think, in one sentence, he's one of the most dangerous prime ministers we've ever had, and he's driven by Marxism.
I think you're giving him a lot of credit there, saying, I mean, he might be dangerous, but it makes him sound kind of sexy and cool, doesn't it? 007. It certainly isn't. I would say drab. Can I just have one word?
I would say, is it the Bob Dylan song, Blowing in the Wind? It is, isn't it, Bob Dylan? Yeah, I would say when it comes to domestic policy, blowing in the wind. But for foreign policy, he's not that bad. He's been half decent, guys. Come on.
Yes. No.
Half decent. Give him some flowers.
I'd say guys. He saved the party from the scourge of Jeremy Corbyn. He's fixed some of the foundations and the rot from the Tories 14 years. But I'm not sure how long he's lasted after that.
You can't just say, right, it's been 1 year, we've fixed the foundations, now it's phase 2, just because they said it.
Oh, that's why I said fix some. Listen up, Will, come on.
You guys have actually had such long sentences in answer to that. I'm having to move on to the giveaway before I can ask my next question, which is a shame because it was about me as a doctor. But anyway, time for the Great British Giveaway. And make sure you don't miss out on your chance to become the biggest winner of the year with this brand new motorhome and £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all the details you'll need to make that beauty yours.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year with a prize worth over £104,000. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. Worth over £74,000, this luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Someone is guaranteed to win our biggest prize to date, so make sure that winner could be you. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Welcome back, everybody. Have you entered? You need that motorhome. I need that motorhome. Anyway, who do you think the Green leader was on about there? More triggered tantrums every time I do it are on the way.
Another glass of wine.
Plus, we'll be speaking to the asparagus fortune teller who predicted Brexit and the Queen's death. I would argue that was quite easy to predict. Will any big predictions be made tonight? That's coming up next.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every Sunday from 11, join Michael Portillo.
There will be topical discussion, looking at the week before and the week to come. So kick back and relax at 11 a.m. on Sundays on GB News with me, Michael Portillo. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So, it is really, really tough, but it's also tough for people who are blind, people who are like pushing buggies, wheelchair users. I mean, my late father was a wheelchair user, and, back in the day, we'd have to sort of get him off the road, and then we'd be in the road, and then we'd have to get him back up onto the pavement again. And that's a big price to pay for somebody who's not prepared to walk around the block and think they have the right to, park on the pavement.
Maria, how do you think it should work? Do you think this needs to be a national ban on pavement parking, or do you think it should be led by councils, so councils decide area by area where you're allowed to park?
I think it should be a mix. I think what we should do is have a blanket ban on pavement parking, and then what councils can do is, there's certain roads, there's one here in Exeter where the road is very narrow and the pavements are very wide. I'm not quite sure why, but it's perfectly safe to park on there. So like a street like that would be fine. And I think one of the problems at the moment is legislation. It's just so unclear, because there's this rule which says that you must not park on the pavement in London and Scotland, but you should not do it elsewhere. So it becomes a bit of a moral maze. And I think that, just to make that clearer about what people should do, because a lot of people sort of think, well, I can do it. And of course, traffic wardens can't do anything about it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. I have no idea what Will's up to. Get in contact with us at gbnews.com/your say. Get your questions in for Ask the Five, and thank you for your messages so far. So, this was a story that caught my eye this week. An 82-year-old woman in China has landed in hospital after she ate live frogs, 8 of them in fact, in an attempt to cure her back pain. Local reports say Miss Zhang believed an old folk remedy claiming that swallowing frogs could relieve a herniated disc. Now, my other half's a back surgeon, so you can imagine when I saw this story, I sent it straight to him. But just days after her very unusual treatment, she developed severe stomach pain and she was rushed to hospital. But speaking of weird and wonderful insights, our next guest claims to have predicted the death of the Queen, Brexit, Boris Johnson's premiership, amongst others, all through the medium of asparagus, which also has, and this is really interesting, healing powers. So to discuss this, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome the asparagus. I can't even say that.
Asparamancer.
Asparamancer. Sorry, guys. Jemima Packington. Thank you, Jemima. I'm not going to even say that again. Look, as a doctor, Hello. I'm one of those kind of hands-off doctors that are not so common in the NHS, where I truly do believe that most things can be treated ourselves or with a good diet to help keep them away. So I was thrilled to read this story and to hear that we had somebody on the show who also believes that there are other ways to heal ourselves than using traditional medication. What do you think, Jemima? Is that you?
Well, I certainly think so. I think there's a lot to be said for complementary remedies, and I think this is it. As you know, being a doctor, if somebody's really poorly and needs medical attention, you don't not seek it. But there are ways, as you say, so many things around us that are so good for us and so healing. We ought to look at that and think, do I really need to use antiseptic or this when I've got a natural remedy to use?
Your interest in asparagus come from, Jemima?
I was brought up with it. And, I brought up with it. It's a vegetable that we eat during season on a daily basis. And how this all started with me reading predictions was as a child, 7, 8, what do you like? You're greedy. I'm certainly greedy, love my food. And you eat asparagus with your fingers. So you grab a handful of asparagus and it's covered in butter and and it falls on the floor. And I came up with a very precocious remark, and there was a silence from my mother and father. It turns out I had an auntie who used to read tea leaves, and they thought, something might have passed on from the generations here, and that's how it became about.
Jemima, Trey here. I just want to say thank you for what you do. I'm someone that absolutely believes that the planet Earth gives us all we need to cure ourselves. But I want to ask you this. What is the thing, do you think, about mainstream medicine that almost wants to ridicule this sort of natural health remedy? I'll give you an example. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, 2018, I believe it is. And I said to the doctors, don't worry, I'm going to reverse it. And I did, using diet, etc. And they were like, oh, it was just spontaneous remission. Whereas really, I genuinely believe that the change of my diet and all the things I did made a difference. What is this reluctance with mainstream medicine to admit that things like what you do actually makes a difference?
Well, I think now that mainstream medicine is actually coming round to the fact that, for instance, silver is antibacterial. So they will actually prescribe silver sticky plasters for you because it promotes healing. Honey has always been a healer, always been a natural antiseptic. Now you can buy and have prescribed medical grade honey to put on things like leg ulcers or blisters. And this is coming from your GP. And I think you need to discuss with GPs, the GP. Is there an alternative?
Jemima, that we can all just try at home if we throw asparagus around it? Could we have a go ourselves, or is it a skill that we wouldn't know?
Reading asparagus?
Yeah. I want to have a go at home at Christmas.
I urge everybody to have a go and see. You don't know till you try. But I said I'm happy to do a reading if somebody wants me to do a reading for them live.
Jemima, I think what Cressida has just demonstrated is that we are all so keen to see your skills at work that we have set up our beloved Kai, who always is our trier of things. And he, I think, is going to work with you and some asparagus to predict his future. Right, so I'm going to hand over to you, Kai.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, as a gay man, I'm no stranger to experimentation with vegetables. Just wondering if we can have any instruction on how to throw the asparagus. Shall I do some more? I'll do some more just in case. Oh.
Well, that's as you see fit. Have you got any more left? Throw some more on the table, or is that it?
Oh, I do have some more. We have some more space over there, actually.
Go for it.
Oh.
There you go. Right, okay. So, for you, if you look to what I'm looking at my right, there are two spears. The first spears that you threw, that indicates that you're going to get visitors into your life.
This here.
So they could be complete strangers or they could be relatives. That's right, those two there. Relatives, complete strangers. But it's going to be exciting and it's going to be very pleasant. Two nice new people coming into your circle of friends.
So that's these two here.
That's right. Now, there's a formation which just at the back of those, and there's a letter H there. If you look very clearly, there's a letter H.
Yes, here.
And that suggests that that's a very significant initial for you. And it could be connected with these visitors coming in. However, not all plain sailing. The three spears which you see, or I see to my, that's right.
Yeah.
And you see there are two spears crossing. And that indicates you have hurdles to cross. I don't like to say to people, oh, you're going to have problems. But everybody has problems to solve. And that's showing that there's going to be something, a hurdle. It could be your central heating boiler or a car or anything. And you will have to figure out a way to deal with that, but you will. And that's a very positive reading. But it's lovely. I always love it when you get nice people coming into your life, strangers, and the letter H.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much. The letter H, my sister's name begins with H, so that's hopeful. She's been a wonderful source of joy for me. But those hurdles, I really want to know what the future might hold. Thank you ever so much. And Asparamancer,
you will know,
can I just say, what a name.
Jemima, that's amazing.
Asparamancer, I know.
Jemima, you're obviously quite well known for your really big predictions, Brexit, the Queen's death, etc. What current news events have you predicted using asparagus?
Oh, well, I predicted... I'm trying to be sort of apolitical here, but I did predict very early on in the year, and in fact also late last year, that we would have a change of Prime Minister. And that is still on the cards.
Jemima, I had my doubts about the whole asparagus thing, but you've won me over. I'm a believer.
So, do you think the change of Prime Minister...
Do you remember with asparagus you can eat it? Yeah.
Raw? Yeah, I love asparagus. I love eating it. But do you think this change of Prime Minister will be before 2029?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You've made a lot of people very happy with that, Jemima. I can't tell you. I shall be reading out the your sayings later.
OK, I'm putting my neck on the line now. By Christmas.
By Christmas?
By Christmas. Wow. The asparagus has spoken.
We're going to hold you to that, Jemima. Thank you so much for being good sport, for talking us through that. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
God, I must admit my
So sorry guys. I was distracted there by Kai over on the sofa. Absolutely. Not making noise.
Hey, I know. Let's play a game. The game is called You Know You're a Fascist When.
So still to come, we've got trigger tantrums.
We're not topping that asparagus, though.
But first, we're going to go through our most uplifting stories of the week, and it's not the frogs, guys. Can anyone remember this horse? Well, the beast has galloped back into the news again, but can anyone guess why? And it's a lovely story. I'll reveal all after the break.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Storm Alice continues to bring heavy thundery rain to eastern parts of Spain, including the Balearics. Some places could see 50 to 100 millimetres of rain in just a few hours, and these totals will continue to build up for a little while yet. Eventually it is going to ease and clear away, and actually elsewhere there's a lot of fine sunny weather across much of southern Europe as we go through Sunday and into the beginning of next week. Oins in the sunshine, feeling pretty warm. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning, but otherwise a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures perhaps in rural spots, but there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine though for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So generally by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures though in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us and temperatures around the seasonal normal, but slightly below in places.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra, where normal service has been resumed. It's now time for High Five, where we're going to discuss our favourite moments from the past week.
Well, my favourite moment from the past week is definitely the Asparamancer, but unfortunately we haven't had enough time with the producer to rework things. So my second favourite moment from the past week, and I'm a tad conflicted about it, is the return of the great Alan Partridge to our screens. Now look, I think the BBC should be defunded entirely. I think they are now quite literally a second-rate news organisation, and Steve Coogan's one of those lefty actors who tries to impart his moral virtue on the world. But that being said, Alan Partridge is one of the great comic creations the UK has ever produced. It is hilarious, and his new series is on mental health. I think we've got a little clip.
Promoting mental health might not be cool or trendy, but I happen to believe in using my platform to help others. I was told you threw a brick at a swan?
The goose.
Goose. Which is why, in Britain's first ever documentary about mental health... You're panicking, Lynn. Breathe. I'm stopping, crouching down, and asking... How are you? It's Alan Partridge.
There was a moment there that reminded me of Jacob Rees-Mogg peering over the wall. Hello. Are you one of those illegal migrant hotels?
That would be great. Alan Partridge looks up migrant hotels. That's the next series.
Well, actually, an Alan Partridge, Jacob Rees-Mogg combo collaboration. Jeez, that's...
Is this his new... Did you just play his new bit?
So I think there's 6 episodes. The first 3 are out on BBC iPlayer.
How has he got this past the sensitivity readers?
Well, maybe things are changing a bit.
Do you think?
Maybe.
Well, let's wait. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great. And I'm so thrilled that Will is able to be open-minded enough to let Alan Partridge still be in his life.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
I won't watch De Niro movies anymore. I draw the line there, but he just manages to make the cut.
He's brilliant.
He is brilliant.
I mean, that was absolutely brilliant, but I have no idea how he managed to get that through. Do you like it, Kai?
Yeah, sure. I haven't actually watched any of his stuff, I must admit. I know that's not going to win me any fans.
Kai, I don't know if you're and if you are setting up for a joke a bit later, I apologise, but I now just need to point out what on earth is going on. Can we please put the camera on Kai?
It's like a Bloody Mary. It's like a Bloody Mary, but it's Diet Coke with asparagus.
Right, I've had enough. You've already distracted me enough.
If you can't see on that wide, Kai has put the asparagus in his Diet Coke.
Bloody Mary makes you forget. That'll help you remember and predict.
And it'll make your wee smell.
It'll make his prediction come true.
Other than that, it's my turn. And I have a lovely story, actually, when I saw this week. Monarch butterflies are an endangered species now, as are many butterflies. And in this particular story, a scientist found a monarch butterfly with a damaged wing, and it was going to die because it couldn't fly anymore. So she took it back to her lab, and from a dead monarch butterfly, she actually made a spare wing, and she glued it and wired it onto the monarch butterfly.
No.
Wow. And then flew away.
A butterfly transplant.
Yes,
wow.
wing transplant. And initially when I read this story, I thought, what a stupid story. Butterflies only live for a day. Why would you do that? But actually, monarch butterflies don't. So they live between 2 and 8 weeks, but the ones at the end of the season live for 9 months. And Kai tells me they migrate.
I think monarch butterflies are the ones that migrate all the way from Canada and the sort of Rockies down to South America.
South America, that's true.
Thousands of miles.
The other thing is, Renee, after asparagus predictions, pretty much every other story sounds relatively sensible in comparison.
I think it's a beautiful story.
It's a beautiful
I love
story.
butterflies.
Can you imagine?
Anyway, that's my goodness story. Cressida, what have you got for us?
Well, mine is also about an animal making its way in the world. Do you remember the runaway horses last year?
Yeah.
Military horses that ran through the streets, very dramatic. Oh, here we go. Very dramatic footage.
It was like a scene from a film, wasn't it?
It was horrible. One of them had some blood. It all looked very dramatic. Oh. But they've all made a full recovery, or 4 of the 5. And the one that hasn't... Well, it has made a full recovery, but it's had some surgery, has now retired at the age of 50. This is Quaker. I looked it up. This is the equivalent to being a 45 to 55-year-old human. So
Look
that's
at that
a really nice early retirement package. And apparently he's now living his best life, which involves eating, sleeping and running around whenever he feels like it.
It's a beautiful story.
So basically just like what lefties do every day.
Well, he's obviously on a state pension, of course.
Do you know what I find beautiful looking at that is all of the country, basically, going back 80 years or so, was full of horses like that. I live in Notting Hill and all of the mews were stables. It just seems so beautiful. I'm sure it didn't smell too great, but it must have looked beautiful for horses. Carriages everywhere.
Fascinating fact here, I find horse poo a lovely smell.
It is, yeah, there is something. It's not that bad.
You're sharing that.
Well, it smells fresh in a weird way.
It smells like dog poo or cat poo.
I agree.
Nice.
What a choice.
What a choice. But I think it's a beautiful story. These horses are beautifully cared for in the military. 4 of them actually went back and 2 of them were trooping for the colour very soon after.
Oh, wow.
So there's no actual health issues with this horse. It's got to 15, so they thought, you know what? It's time. He's earned his colours.
It's good news, and I know what to get you for Christmas.
Horseman manure.
Potpourri that comes with it.
Evil man. Trey, what have you got for us?
So I have got a high-five story about arguably, well, I would say one of the best modern footballers that has ever kicked a ball, and that's Ronaldo becoming a billionaire. And it's not high-five just because he's become a billionaire. It's the fact that he's got 650 million followers. He's one of the greatest role models at a time when especially young men need a role model. And the fact that he grew up pretty much without his father, who was an alcoholic, who died young from liver disease, I believe it was, and he's become such an icon. You know, he doesn't drink, he's very committed to his sport, and I think it's good in an age where a lot of men don't really have the role models to have someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, I can never say his name. Ronaldo actually be a real role model. So I think it's great.
Asparamancer.
Oh my God, she could predict it when he's going to end his career fully. I don't think he's ever going to stop playing football. He's so fit. It's amazing. So I think that's a great high five
I
story.
feel that Will has something to say about this.
You don't like him?
Look, when I'm thinking about the feel-good moments of the past week, some Nancy boy footballer who just made $1 billion making that money, and he doesn't even enjoy a pint. I'm sorry. I'm not exactly going to go, oh, how lovely. The butterfly, wonderful. I'm glad to see it, spreading its wings literally and metaphorically. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to be particularly jumping up and down about Ronaldo buying another mansion.
Came from absolute poverty and made a name for himself.
Yeah, but you see, isn't it absolute poverty that makes these footballers what they are? Because they know it's their only way out of the favelas in Brazil or wherever else it is. That's what we don't have here, and it's why we don't produce these amazing...
No, but they're not all good guys. I mean, I don't know anything about football. I know who he is, and I know he's a good guy.
He is.
He's unusual, isn't he?
Yeah.
He could have, he could have gone down Will's path and just drunk himself to death or whatever you want.
Well, not yet. Not yet, Cressida.
He decided to do good things with his money. He's a family man.
I love it. Can we have that every single week, please? And replace this Aussie foreigner at the end. I love that.
Brilliant. So now that Cressida has supported your high five, Kai, what do you...
No, yeah, Ronaldo wouldn't like my high five, I'm afraid. Pubs. The government is cutting red tape, is planning to rushing through a consultation to allow pubs to do more events, to open much longer, to have street food stalls. So the consultation's open now, and the plan is that it'll boost the economies, sort of local economies and pubs that really desperately need it right now. So I think we can all agree, however we got here, this is good news for pubs.
Good news.
What are the reasons that they need help, though, Kai? What are some of the Labour have made it so difficult to operate?
Gen Z. Young people don't drink anymore.
That's the reason, isn't it? The pubs are struggling.
It's not the taxes and regulations and, burdensome business environment.
Yeah,
this is the point.
COVID, yeah.
I think you're right. I think anything that can help publicans decide when they open and how they open is great. But I think the problem is much, much bigger than that. One pub a day is closing. 2,283 have closed since 2020. There's the toxic combination of spiralling costs, energy. There's VAT on alcohol, and the supermarkets offset that, alcohol and food, but pubs don't have it. That zero rated on their food. So actually they could have made a much more meaningful change, which was say, OK, we're taking off VAT.
But that might be the change that they make. That might be changes that they make in the budget, for instance.
Do you think?
Yes, well, they've already announced this review and announced a whole raft of things that it could mean. That's much more than we've seen in the previous governments.
Do you know what? People might not think this is a serious subject, pubs, and keeping them open, but I actually think a pub is like a well-being centre for people, where people socialise, meet other
together,
people,
talk,
share ideas.
Yeah. We've got to be able to talk things through. If we're separated, we can't hash things out.
I think they should be protected. We talk about what is British culturally. I think pubs they should be protected and subsidised by the government.
I agree with you. We should have a referendum on that, Trey. Isn't that what you want?
Well, not on the pubs necessarily, but I think they should be protected, absolutely. They're very
So we do agree
important.
with you. It is a high five, but we want more.
We want more.
Yeah, I agree.
And no asparaguses in the pints, please.
Anyway, on that happy note of pubs opening later, still to come.
Last week, I felt so overwhelmed that I actually started wishing that I would take myself to A&E and say I'm mentally too unwell to deal with life.
Yes, that was singer Paloma Faith having a little rant. But it gets worse. Stay tuned in to see the full clip as we reveal the very last batch of our triggered tantrums. You're with the Saturday 5 on Saturday 5 Extra, live on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers
have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra, everybody. If you just knew the asparagus chat that has been going on in the break, you would be astounded. But it is now time to reveal the last batch of our triggered tantrums. Cressida, what do you have for us?
I've got a clip of Paloma Faith being very, very Paloma Faith. I'm on her side. Right? She starts off being really deeply cynical. She says, I'm sick of people saying, you got this. That's fine. That annoys me as well. I don't want unwarranted positivity, ever.
Yeah.
And then she just goes into this bizarre rant. I think we've got a clip.
Can we see it?
People keep saying it to me. You've got this. I hate that expression so much. No, actually today I don't have this. I feel awful. Last week I felt so overwhelmed that I actually started wishing that I would take myself to A&E and say, I'm mentally too unwell to deal with life. Please section me and have a week off and sit in bed and read a few books for a week, and everyone feels sorry for me for a week because they've really realised now at this point that it is too much.
Yeah.
And just give me the sympathy that I really crave.
I mean, look, it's so entitled. As somebody who has a relative who has been sectioned many times, it's so entitled, it's so insulting. And I think most people watching it would think that these people just live in another world and just don't know what it's like to live like normal people. But Trey, what have you got for us?
So what I've got for my triggered tantrum, I think really should just roll it. Let's roll it.
Hey, I know. Let's play a game. The game is called You Know You're a Fascist When. You know you're a fascist when you chant freedom while cheering for mass deportations without due process. You know you're a fascist when you think banning books and gutting universities is saving America. You know you're a fascist when you believe soldiers should be loyal to a person, but not the Constitution.
Freedom!
I think for me, when I see something like this, especially if someone politically is very much in the centre, I just think it's hypocrisy on the left, hypocrisy on the right. She's complaining about a lot of stuff that people on the left have also advocated for.
That is just rubbish, Trey.
It's true.
That is
Different
rubbish.
guys,
What?
it's the same thing.
So your military should be loyal to a
It
person,
won't look like that,
not a country.
But it will be some
What is
sort of,
that?
it will be some sort of cancel culture. It will be something that other people don't agree with. There's just a hypocrisy, I think, with it, and you demonstrate that every single week.
No, I don't.
I'll tell you what, Kai, let's look at your tantrum, shall we?
Yeah,
this dynamic tonight has been
This
fascinating.
is actually, I agree that shouting fascism at things that aren't necessarily fascism isn't right.
Your tantrum.
Because I actually have nuance to my views.
Kai?
Let's play this tape.
Nigel Farage, he joined forces with the Swedish Democrats in the European Parliament. This is a far-right Nazi group. They want to deport people, not based on the colour of his skin, but from the places that they've come from. They also, Nigel Farage talked about it being the end of democracy because of the way certain ethnic minorities are voting. These aren't robust words, as Annabelle called them earlier, or we've heard on the conversation. This is racism, it's fascism.
Yeah,
Picturism.
I mean, let's not forget, this was the man this week who insisted once again that women can have penises. Yeah. The man is a joke.
I don't often praise Lewis Goodall on LBC, but he was very good earlier in the week where he said, you keep calling Nigel Farage a fascist. I'm going to read you the definition of fascism. One-party rule, the use of the military, all that sort of stuff. What particular criteria do you think Nigel Farage satisfies? And obviously he couldn't answer. It was actually very good journalism.
Exactly. But that's why, I know you want to tar me with this leftist brush, Trey,
stop
but...
your fight with Trey.
I'm having a fight.
Right, I've got to stop them, guys. Thank you to our guests and to you, our lovely audience, for joining in the fun tonight, and boy, was it fun. Thank you, panel. But next up, it is the amazing Alex Armstrong tonight.
Thank you so much, Renee. Great show. Look, I was at the Palestine rally today, which was meant to be a Stop the War rally, despite the war seemingly being stopped. You'll be able to spot a moment there where I get hit on the head by a violent protester, not deliberately, of course, but there we go. We'll see all of that. I'm also going to be asking why Keir Starmer is blaming a certain man for his economic crisis that he has made. That and so much more coming up on Alex Armstrong tonight. I hope you can join me in the next few minutes. Up next, here's your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning, but otherwise a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures perhaps in rural spots, but there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine, though, for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day, though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So, generally, by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland, and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures, though, in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us, and temperatures around the seasonal normal but slightly below in places.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdley, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
Practice Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Well, good evening. It's 9 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight.
Yes, I was pushed on the ground by the pro-Pally mob, and then the police escort dragged me out of there and manhandled me.
Yeah, we've got some bombshell footage to show you because the pro-Gaza hate marches are happening again in our capital. It seems that they don't want peace in the Middle East, doesn't it? Well, I've been in the thick of it to bring you the real story. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. And
look at what's happening to the country, and as a councillor in East Riding, I can see what's happening. I get a lot of concerns from residents. Every time a hotel is going up for sale, everyone's got this anxiety.
I've been a busy boy this week because I also went to the Pink Ladies protest as they counter-protested Tower Hamlets Council for trying to prescribe some groups as far right. Also,
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole of £22 billion.
the most unpopular Prime Minister and the most unpopular Chancellor in history are trying to blame the economic mess they've made on, well, you've guessed it, Nigel Farage. Plus, Harry and Meghan are named Humanitarians of the Year. Yet another glitzy award for the Prince and Princess of Montecito. But did they really deserve it?
True unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here.
And the most insane story of the week, a councillor in Scotland has been reported to the police for saying she was born and bred in Falkirk. You can't make it up, can you, honestly? Well, tonight I'm joined by journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. What's happening here? It gets so much better. Your Saturday night is about to get started. Before that, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening to you. It's 2 minutes past 9 here in the GB newsroom. Huge crowds have gathered in Tel Aviv ahead of the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas, where the mention of Donald Trump's name drew loud cheers of gratitude. They were being addressed by two of the architects of the ceasefire deal, Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, along with Kushner's wife Ivanka Trump. However, there were loud boos at the mention of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu's name, who families hold responsible for the ongoing captivity of their loved ones. The ceasefire began yesterday morning, so Hamas now has just over 36 hours to release all hostages, after which Israel will free thousands of Palestinian prisoners. Witkoff says the US president is owed deep gratitude and that he has dreamed of this night.
We stand here tonight, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and people from every corner of the world, united by one shared prayer for peace. Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary. A moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen.
Gaza Civil Defence Agency says more than 500,000 people have now returned to Gaza City since the ceasefire took effect. Rescue teams have begun recovering bodies from ruined buildings. Authorities say almost 10,000 people remain unaccounted for. Meanwhile, Hamas has recalled around 7,000 fighters to reassert control over the territory amid fears of internal violence between armed gangs. A small number of people have been arrested at a pro-Palestinian demonstration in London held to mark 2 years of the war in Gaza. Police say it followed a scuffle between several individuals after a group of counter-protesters from Stop the Hate breached conditions set in place to keep the demonstrations apart. Tens of thousands of people joined the march to Parliament Square earlier, and protesters insist that the marches will continue until a free Palestine is achieved. Former Lost Prophet singer Ian Watkins has died after being attacked in prison. The paedophile rock star was serving a 29-year sentence for child sex offences. He was attacked with a knife at Wakefield Prison in Yorkshire this morning. Emergency services were called, but Watkins was pronounced dead at the scene. Prince Harry's written to the Home Secretary in a renewed bid to have his royal security reinstated. The Duke of Sussex has asked Shabana Mahmood to carry out a full risk assessment. Well, Prince Harry's letter has urged the committee to abide by its own rules, which requires annual reviews for royals and VIPs. Earlier this year, he lost a High Court appeal to regain automatic taxpayer-funded police protection, and his security is decided currently on a case-by-case basis. No survivors are expected to be found after a major explosion at a munitions factory in the US state of Tennessee. 18 people remain unaccounted for. It is still unclear what caused yesterday's explosion at the plant, which is southwest of Nashville. The facility specialises in the development and manufacture of explosives. And the breaking news that just came into us a little earlier tonight, the celebrated actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. Keaton, who rose to fame in the 1970s, winning an Oscar for Annie Hall in one of her many collaborations with Woody Allen. She also starred in The Godfather, Baby Boom, First Wives Club and Something's Gotta Give. The actor hadn't been in the public eye for some months, but no illness had been announced. She is survived by her 2 children.